If you're trying to inspire sympathy from millions of people who have to go out there every day and grind on their feet, not doing luxurious things, it's just not gonna happen.
And a Jamie Lloyd production of Evita. I promise y'all don't need to be worrying about her career like that.
They tried to warn her quietly behind closed doors, but she didn't listen. And now, she could be the one paying the price. I should be paid for every hour it streamed online. That's what she said. But now, explosive new rumors. Straight Out of Broadway suggest Rachel Zegler is staring down a massive $5 million fine, and it's all tied to how she acted on the set of Evita. Not because she quit, not because she walked away, but because of what insiders are calling repeated outbursts on set. Outbursts that may have triggered a hidden clause buried deep in her contract. That clause? It's made to penalize any star who tarnishes a production's reputation. And now, insiders say the producers are weaponizing it against her. It's the kind of clause nobody talks about until everything starts spiraling out of control. And if what the insiders are whispering is even half true, then Rachel Zegler might have just crossed a line she can't come back from. This all comes
because there's so many people that will view you as competition, or they'll make you feel not as good as you deserve to feel.
I just saw this video that was like, Rachel Zegler doesn't have a single movie role lined up after Snow White.
Production are pushing back, hard, and they're aiming straight for her paycheck. A $5 million fine for things she said, offstage. And the wildest part, her team isn't even denying it. They're just saying, no comment. But behind the scenes, it's complete chaos. And whatever happens next could bring down everything she's worked so hard to build. When Rachel Zegler's alleged private messages leaked.
When you're there and you're trying to do your best, you've worked on this part, you spend hours and hours on end trying to get this character just down right for your big audition, and then if you have a producer or casting director sitting there and then eating food in front of you, yeah, it can be very annoying. Personally, I've never had that experience.
Back. She allegedly claimed she was set up, that the people around her never wanted her there in the first place, and that she was made to feel like an outsider every single day of rehearsal. It was emotional, raw, and clearly never meant for public eyes. But once those messages were out, there was no turning back. After Rachel Zegler finally broke her silence about the Evita collapse, reportedly blaming the cast and claiming she was set up from day one, it didn't take long for the people behind the show to strike back.
And in the film industry, when you are an actor, when you sign one of these contracts in the entertainment industry, I think a lot of people on the outside think that, you know, if you are somebody who, you know, has a lot of publicity around you and your name is attached to a project, that means that you have a ton of control or a ton of intel, but usually that is not the case. As an actor, you don't get to dictate anything. You don't get to dictate if a film actually happens. You don't get to dictate when it is shot, how it is shot, if you can ever speak about it to the public. You are simply just there to show up and say your lines and look the way they want you to look. That is our job, and that was my job on this production. So again, that's really all I can say. Which honestly kind of seems like maybe this path that I'm taking right now is the path that Rachel Zegler should have taken instead of just running her mouth for the last 3 years.
Team ever wanted her there, and that every day of rehearsal made her feel like an outsider. It was raw, emotional, and clearly never meant to be seen by the public. But once they hit the internet, there was no going back. Fans immediately split down the middle. Some rallied behind her, saying she was finally standing up for herself. But others? They saw it as just another example of Rachel shifting blame, throwing others under the bus whenever things didn't go her way. And the cast? Completely silent. Not one public response, no confirmations, no denials, nothing. Just a wall of silence that made everything feel even darker. But underneath that silence, something was brewing. Was this really about Snow White? Or was this something deeper? Just another chance to pile on a woman people already love to hate? This is starting to look familiar, one fan said. It reminds me of another woman who had an entire hate campaign thrown at her, but that's for another video. Another added, "Yeah, I'm not about to sit back and watch another hate train run someone over." But according to new sources close to the production, those leaked messages weren't just embarrassing, they were the final straw. Tensions had apparently been simmering for weeks.
And approach to work. She believes that she should be able to express herself and speak her truth or whatever nonsense, regardless of the consequences.
Insiders say the producers are done playing nice. They've allegedly gone back to the contract, found a specific clause, and are preparing to use it. Rachel Zegler, they claim, might be facing serious financial consequences. Rachel is very upset with all of us over our reactions, one insider said. And you can tell, because now she's speaking in riddles. Just look at this cryptic message. To everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre.
Rachel Zegler is very upset with all of us over the reaction we've had. You can tell this because she's speaking in riddles. Check it out.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Oh, Rachel, I hate to break it to you because people did not actually line up to see you.
Is that she's always authentically herself, no matter what. If something needs to be called out, she'll call it out, and I love her for that. She's an icon. I will be a Rachel. Zegler stan until the day I die. Her voice, her acting. Oh my God. She's a powerhouse. Rachel, why do you do this to me? I don't have any money and now you're making me buy Evita tickets just to see you. That's how much I love you. The truth is, high-profile stars like Rachel Zegler don't sign basic contracts. They sign complex, multi-layered deals filled with clauses most people never even hear about. Clauses designed not just to protect the production, but to control the star. And according to new leaks from theater forums and insider gossip accounts, Rachel's Evita contract allegedly included a conduct and reputation clause. Basically, if she said or did anything, on or off stage, that damaged the production's image or hurt its bottom line, she could be fined. And that fine? Reportedly up to $5 million. And this number isn't random. It's reportedly tied to production budgets, advertising costs, and projected ticket sales. Numbers that could all take a hit if the lead actress becomes the center of a public firestorm. Sources claim the producers are now digging through every line of her contract after weeks of backstage drama, leaks, and viral controversy. Not just because of what Rachel allegedly said, but because of how much it's damaging the show's image. Theaters don't survive on gossip. They survive on ticket sales. And Evita? It's already in trouble. Fan sentiment is swinging wildly. Behind-the-scenes clips are being analyzed frame by frame. And the name Rachel Zegler? It's becoming more associated with chaos than with talent. Allegedly, the producers have already brought in legal teams to examine whether Rachel's public behavior, everything from private message leaks to missed rehearsals, could legally count as a breach of contract. But here's where things get messy. This kind of clause is almost never enforced. It's usually there as a scare tactic, a last resort nuclear option. But the fact that it's even being discussed publicly, that means something behind the scenes is unraveling fast. And Rachel's team? Still no statement, no denials, no clarity, just more silence. And that's only making people ask the question louder. Is it true? Could one of Hollywood's most watched young stars really be about to crash? Fans immediately split. Some rushed to defend her, saying she was finally standing up for herself. But others? They saw it as just another example of Rachel dodging blame and throwing everyone else under the bus when things didn't go her way. And the cast? Silent. Not one public response. No confirmations, no denials, no support, nothing. Just a wall of silence that made the whole situation feel even darker. They've reportedly pulled the contract, found a clause, and they're preparing to use it. Rachel Zegler is furious over the backlash, and you can tell, because she's talking in riddles now. Just listen. To everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. I can only hope that despite my flaws, my cracks, my breaks, and there are many, that people will still line up to see me. Rachel, I hate to break it to you, but people didn't line up to see you, and now producers are looking at a clause that doesn't just hurt Rachel's reputation. It could hit her bank account in a major way. If they follow through, she could be on the hook for millions. But here's the wildest part. It might not even be about the money. This might be about sending a message, because what happened next even shocked some of her biggest fans. Something I love about Rachel Zegler is that she's always unapologetically herself. She speaks up, she calls things out, she stands for what she believes in. And I'll be a Rachel Zegler stan until the day I die. Her voice, oh my God, her acting, incredible. Her presence, iconic. Rachel, why are you doing this to me? I don't even have money, and you're making me go to Evita just to see you. That's how much I love you. But here's the reality. Big-name stars like Rachel don't sign simple contracts. They sign multi-layered legal beasts with clauses most people don't even know exist. Clauses designed to protect the project and control the star. According to fresh leaks on theater forums and insider accounts, Rachel's Evita contract reportedly includes something called a conduct and reputation clause. Basically, if she says or does anything, on or off stage, that damages the production's image or causes financial losses, she pays. And that penalty? Reportedly as high as $5 million, and it doesn't stop there. Scooper Daniel RPK recently claimed Rachel has been recast in Paddington 3, officially due to strike-related delays, but behind the scenes. Some suspect it's really about the backlash. One source speculated, studios won't say they dropped her because she ruins everything she touches. That would look bad. And then came the breaking point. An unnamed crew member reportedly filed a formal complaint, saying Rachel snapped at them over a technical issue during a late-night rehearsal. The complaint? Documented and sent straight to the top. From that moment, producers allegedly started getting lawyers involved. They pulled the contract. They found the clause. And they started building a case, just in case she spiraled further. And that? All happened before the leaks, before the cast-blaming texts, before the public outrage, before the silence shattered. To fans, Rachel's statement seemed like her reclaiming the narrative. But to producers, it looked like escalation. A star out of control. And now? Insiders say producers are documenting everything, prepping to either force her into silence or hit her with the most brutal penalty possible. Because to them, this isn't just drama. It's about control. And the next move might be the boldest yet. When those private messages leaked, fans thought Rachel was steering the story. But insiders say something very different was happening. While she was sending messages and pointing fingers, the producers stayed strategically silent. No public statements, no defenses, no denials. Instead, they pulled the paperwork. Sources say the $5 million clause is being used less to collect and more to threaten. It's a power move. A reminder that Rachel's contract is a leash, and they're the ones holding it. By letting that clause leak to the public, producers took control of the narrative without saying a word. They let fear do the talking. Fear of legal action, fear of blacklisting, fear of being branded difficult to work with, the ultimate career killer. Some say this move was timed. After Rachel's public meltdown, they'd had enough. Enough tension, enough headlines, enough chaos. This clause? It sends a message to the industry. Fall in line, or we will bury you in paperwork. It's the kind of pressure that doesn't just silence a star, it isolates them. Because now, everyone knows exactly who's in control, and it's not Rachel. She might have thought speaking out would flip the narrative. Instead, it may have triggered something she can't undo. Now the question is, was this a bluff? Or are producers really about to drop a $5 million hammer? As word of the potential fine spread, the internet did what it always does. Took sides. Some fans were over it. One tweet went viral. She's been acting like a diva for months. If producers are fighting back, good. The sentiment isn't rare. Ever since her Snow White comments, Rachel Zegler has been a lightning rod. Some say she's arrogant. Others say she's immature. But almost everyone agrees. Her media presence has been chaotic. Reddit threads exploded. She's tanking her career in real time, said one user. This is what happens when you forget that Broadway isn't Hollywood, said another. But not everyone is cheering. A growing number of longtime fans say the fine is completely unfair. She's being scapegoated, one posted on TikTok. She's 22, under insane pressure, and they're treating her like a criminal for being emotional. And then came the comparisons. People started pointing to male actors who've cursed out crews, stormed off sets, and still kept working, without multi-million-dollar penalties. Now the debate isn't just about Rachel's behavior. It's about how young women in the spotlight are treated when they push back. Some say she brought this on herself. Others believe she's being publicly punished to keep the rest of the industry quiet. But no matter where you stand, the divide is growing deeper. And Rachel? Still silent. But if that silence continues, the speculation might only get louder. Because the next chapter might not come from her, it might come from the courts. That's not an apology. That's a deflection, a reframing, a conscious decision. And now the real question isn't just what went wrong with Evita. The real question is about Rachel Zegler herself. Is she taking responsibility for the chaos or just trying to rewrite how it ends? Let's look at what we know. The backstage tension, confirmed by multiple sources. Her conflict with castmates? Whispers about that started long before anything leaked. The friction with the director and vocal coaches? Reportedly so intense that some crew members considered walking off the project entirely. Yet in Rachel's version, the one now quietly making its way across TikTok and Reddit, she's the victim. She's the one ambushed, the one targeted, the one betrayed. And it's a compelling story. It's also incredibly convenient, which is why these leaks, these subtle jabs, this rewriting of events, it may win her some sympathy online, but it's burning bridges offline. People who worked with her. People who now feel like they've been thrown under the bus just so a rising star can preserve her brand. That's the risk of playing the victim one too many times. Eventually, even your fans start to ask, okay, but what was your part in all this? And maybe that's where we are now. Rachel Zegler's career isn't over, not even close. She's talented, she's ambitious, and she absolutely has star power. But talent without accountability? That's a tough sell. And if this is truly her final act in the Evita drama, to reshape the story, dodge the heat, and move on unscathed, she better be ready for what's coming. Because Hollywood loves a comeback, yes, but it also remembers every burned bridge, every slighted co-star, every behind-the-scenes whisper. It doesn't disappear. It stacks up. It builds a reputation. It follows you. So we're back where we started. Is Rachel Zegler finally owning her story? Or is she just finding new ways to avoid the fallout? Right now, it depends who you ask. Some say she's reclaiming the narrative. Others say she's deflecting, spinning, and digging an even deeper hole. But one thing's certain. This isn't the end. It's just the beginning of the next chapter. And if you're following this saga, trust us. You're going to want to see what happens next. Subscribe. Because this story is far from over.